Hello and welcome to Bills Game Day Recap. I'm Alexa Ross in the studio. Thad Brown will join us in just a moment. The Bills hosted the Philadelphia Eagles this afternoon in the worst possible conditions. Wind gusts, rain coming down. It looked like a bloodbath from the start. The Eagles came into Orchard Park with a chip on their shoulder, a 3-4 team looking to hit 500. They accomplished that with a major third quarter and some halftime tweaks on defense. The Bills lost their second game of the season this afternoon, 31-13, but there is still hope for them yet. Thad Brown joins us now from New Era Field. You staying warm out there, Thad?
Trying to, Alexa. You know, it wasn't the worst conditions ever, but it was far from fun. The wind was nasty. The rain came in and out and really kind of ramped up a little bit as the Bills tried to come back in the second half of this game. No matter what team got behind, it was going to be a difficult game for someone to rally. And the Bills, look, Jordan Poyer said we knew what kind of game this was going to be. It was going to be physical. It was going to be about the run game. The Bills still tried to do what they've done all year. They made a couple mistakes early. Josh Allen, another big turnover, got down. The difference today was there was no fourth quarter rally.
We weren't helping ourselves out, you know, whether it was penalties, pre-snap, during the whistle, or during the play. Ultimately, you know, that rests on my shoulders. So I gotta find a way to, you know, allow ourselves to get better with moving the ball and putting some more points on the board. And you know, performance like this won't cut it.
I'm concerned anytime a team can run the ball like that on our football team. That's concerning. Sometimes technique's baked into that. I don't believe it was effort at all. Our guys play hard. They've played hard every game to this point, and they played hard, I thought, today. So we got to look at the film to see if it's technique, if it's fundamentals. Sometimes both.
And while Sean McDermott did not question the Bills' effort, it might not have been a lack of effort on Buffalo's side, but it might have been extra effort on the Philadelphia side. As Alexa said, the Eagles needed this win to get back to 500, really probably needed to win today to save their season. Jack Lawson said it after the game. They wanted it more today, and it showed. Alexa, let's go back to you in the studio for more on this game. Look, the Eagles came out and played like a team that had experience, had won a Super Bowl. The Bills played like a team still trying to figure out how to become that successful.
I mean, I said it earlier, I said it last night, I'm on the record as saying it, whoever scored first was going to win this game. Sure, a field goal isn't necessarily the score that you think is going to win the game, but it really showed that they did want it more. They needed, like you said, to save their season. Without this win, it would have been an absolute atrocity to try and get back. I think that when you listen to guys like Carson Wentz, who are these big leaders, has a little bit more experience than Josh Allen, you can kind of see that with the running, being able to slide, things like that. You don't have things that look like this happening to you when you're making plays like that, making those smarter decisions and things like that.
Alexa, you're very right. And the Bills talked about, too, how they have been viewed kind of through their first 6 games of the year. They were 5-1, but yeah, they've played some bad teams, the Miamis and Cincinnatis of the world. And the Bills almost understood that the formula of kind of hanging with those teams and then stealing it late was not going to work. Trent Murphy talked about it, too, after the game. He said that, look, sometimes you make bad plays and get good results, but against a good team, that's not going to work. The Bills found out the hard way today, especially on defense, getting run over for 218 yards rushing, that just because what they've done against the not-so-good teams of the league had worked, it was not going to work today.
Last week was an ugly win. We understood that. A win's a win, but you know, there's some things that we did poorly. You know, we did some ugly things that kind of, I would say, kind of translated into this game, and we just got to get those things corrected.
They came in, they handed it to us today. Credit to them. They handed it to us today. We weren't able to stop the run. They were able to get some explosive plays.
We knew it was going to be kind of a weird game. They were going to be in a 2-point stance and running laterally and stuff, and we wanted to not let them dictate how that was going to be played and get off the ball and attack. And I'm not sure that necessarily all day I felt that attack presence.
Certainly they out-physicaled us. They came in there, imposed their will. We just got to figure out a way to review the film, see how we can get better so we don't let this go on for too much longer.
This is probably a loss that feels the worst from a defensive perspective, just because of the way they gave it to us there at the end as far as running the ball. And so that's something that we have to obviously accept that they did it and not make excuses and get it corrected.
Hey, look, the Bills have had a good attitude about this. Micah Hyde said, look, no, after the game, nobody was freaking out. Nobody was panicking. But look, this is what we've talked about being a problem for the Bills all year long. Yeah, they were winning. Fans would say, well, they're 5-1, we're fine. But you're not going to be able to turn the ball over in this league like Josh Allen did again today against the Eagles. You're not going to be able to give teams life and chances to get ahead on you and continue to win late. This league is not built for a team to just every week not allowed 20 points, to score late and have their offenses show up only in the fourth quarter and continue to succeed. And today the Bills, found out the hard way. It's not like that the Bills can't figure this out and get it going forward, but this is the concern that I think a lot of media locally and nationally had about this team, that the formula that works against the Bengals and the Dolphins and the Jets and, the doormats of the world, were not going to work against a team like the Eagles. And the Eagles are 4-4. This is not a team that is, at the moment at least, a Super Bowl favorite, even a Super Bowl contender. So the Bills certainly have a lot of work to do. The good news is they're 5-2, but they are not close to the team that I think Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane want them to be just yet. Alexa, let's go back to you in the studio to talk about some of the numbers from this game against the Eagles.
Absolutely. Like you were saying, it wasn't the best game that the offense has ever played. Josh Allen only went 16 of 34 for 169 yards. He recorded 2 touchdowns in the air to Devin Singletary and Cole Beasley, but that fumble is really what changed the game. What's most striking, though, is the Eagles' rushing yards. 218 yards for 3 touchdowns. That's the most any team has put up against the Bills this season. It's also the most the Eagles have put up all year. The ringleader of that was Jordan Howard. Howard ran all over the Bills defense, 23 carries for 96 yards and a touchdown. That's almost half of the yards that they ran, but the big one was Miles Sanders' 65-yard touchdown run from the second snap from scrimmage in the third quarter. That blew the game wide open. It was the first rushing touchdown of his career. It came definitely at the right time.
Alexa, the Bills obviously had an issue with their run game today, and they talked about that play that Sanders had in the third quarter, the touchdown that gave Philadelphia their first double-digit lead. The guy said, look, that was a communication error, a fit error, and what that means is the Bills' defensive players are all supposed to be in a gap across the line of scrimmage. Somebody was not in the right spot, and they say this all the time. Since Sean McDermott has got here, I've asked many questions about run defense and how it works, and they all say, look, if one guy's not where he's supposed to be, that's when big plays happen. And that's what they believe happened on that Sanders touchdown. Now, on the other side of the ball, the Bills offense, we've been talking about it a little bit already. They cannot depend on the fourth quarter comeback philosophy. But last week, the Bills talked about that already. They knew they had this problem. Cole Beasley said, it's not something we can lean on. John Brown said, we have to start better. Neither of those two things, at least the Bills did not have any success offensively today, and talked about what the issues might be going forward.
I mean, it happens. They get paid just like we do, and they brought their A game today, and we didn't. That's the story. That's it.
This wasn't our Super Bowl, man. We got a long season still left, and I mean, we just got to continue getting better. Simple as that. We know what's ahead of us, and so we can't put our heads down right here.
We had a couple of turnovers, and things didn't play disciplined football, had some penalties, and eventually when you play a good football team, that stuff is going to bite you in the butt, and that's what happened today. It kind of snowballed on us, and we weren't able to, keep it tight enough. And so we have to play good, sound football, and don't forget that we can't just rely on, fourth quarter comebacks or getting together in the fourth quarter. We have to play 4 solid quarters of football.
There was some talk on social media today about the play calling of Brian Daboll and some questioning of it. Now, personally, I thought Daboll had a decent game. I thought that the touchdown drive the Bills had in the second half, Brian Daboll has to get some credit for that. The Devin Singletary 3rd and 13 flip pass that went for a touchdown, to me, that's genius offense more than anything else. But the Bills' offensive players did address the play calling questions, and unsurprisingly, they had nothing but the best things to say about their coaches and their teammates.
We've known that already, so and we didn't put together many good quarters today. Usually we put together a few, and I don't know if we had more than one good quarter today.
There's no fingers pointed. I think the whole team knows that there's a sense of urgency, that every person has a part to play in executing better. For right now, it's just there's no panic. It's just a sense of urgency.
It is what it is, and it had nothing to do with play calling or anything like that. I mean, it's the Willies and the Joes, man. You know what I mean? Not the X's and the O's. So we just got to get it right.
And Cole Beasley said it best. Look, the Bills were the less talented team in this game. The NFC this year has been a far superior conference to the AFC, to the point where you look at Buffalo's 5-1 and Philadelphia's 3-4, and certainly on the field here today, you can make the argument that Philadelphia's 3-4 was more impressive. Now, like I said, the Bills were 5-1 coming into this game, and they were the less desperate team. Going back to Shaq Lawson's comment from earlier in this show, the more desperate team seems to win in the NFL more often, and a lot of the Bills said today they thought that the Eagles were a team that, just wanted it a little bit more. Not that the Bills weren't trying or didn't want it, but again, when you come into a game at 5-1, the Bills down the road have a softer schedule. They maybe not would have admitted it, but probably knew there was some leeway if they suffered a loss today. But that doesn't mean that being now at 5-2 is okay. As Mitch Morse in our last word said, the Bills still have to kind of figure out how to make this final 9 games of the season work for them to end up in the playoffs.
This could be a great learning experience, and it's what we have to make it into. Because if you look at it and just say, oh, well, we'll be all right, that's how you get complacent, and that's how you take steps backwards. And in this league, you can't do that or you'll get embarrassed.
Yeah, and I think that's the bottom line from this game. Look, the Bills are 5-2. They're still in fantastic shape to make the playoffs. And, fans may not want to hear it, but the national take on the Bills this week is going to be, well, they finally played a good team and look what happened. Whether that remains true or not the rest of the season remains to be seen. This is still a growing team. Josh Allen is a quarterback that's on the ascent. If he continues to improve, maybe the next time the Bills get into a game against a good team with a defense that just doesn't limit that team to 17 points or less, Buffalo will be able to find a way to win a shootout. But for today, for right now, this team is just not ready to win that game, and the Eagles made that very clear today. I'm all set here in Orchard Park. Remember to check out my Facebook Live. You can talk with me, and if you have any questions about this game, you can ask those to me on our Facebook page at News 8, and I'll have my column on RochesterFirst.com later on. In Orchard Park, I'm all set. Alexa, back to you.
Thanks, Thad. No need to hit the panic button just yet, Bills Mafia. They're still in great shape to make the playoffs. As Thad was saying, a 5-2 record is nothing to scoff at, especially at this point in Week 8. But if we're talking about padding the schedule a little bit, things start to look up. Next weekend, the Bills face another NFC East opponent, the 1-7 Washington Redskins. It's a team that is one of the worst in the league, and it should offer a good chance to bounce back and fix some of those mistakes that Josh Allen was talking about earlier. But until then, thank you so much for watching Bills Game Day Recap. For Thad Brown, I'm Alexa Ross. We'll see you next time.